Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session that Lizette, Flores, Dr. Irlanda, Olave, and myself, and Cecilia, Villarreal are presenting. We are from the University of Chihuahua, and we'll be talking about promoting classroom engagement in our program, Lengua Inglesa, during COVID-19 pandemic. What is student engagement? That's the first thing. And engagement has to do with aspects of the participation of students in the classes and the level of responsibility they assume of their own learning. There are different authors that classify engagement into different categories and also give different values to the type of engagement that students can exhibit. First of all, there are three types of engagement. One that is called behavioral, and we have this positive and behavioral engagement when students attend class and participate with enthusiasm in the class. A non-engagement when they are not willing to go or attend the sessions or classes and get late. And negative engagement when they are disruptive or do things that hinder the development of the sessions or classes and that do not promote learning. The second type of engagement is emotional, and this has to do with the interest that students show in the courses in their own learning, and that will be the positive one. Non-engagement when they seem to be bored by the activities that the course is proposing, and negative engagement when they openly reject, have an attitude of rejection towards the things the course and the teacher is proposing. Cognitive engagement, on the other hand, has to do with aspects related to the learning process. And we have a positive engagement, cognitive engagement, when students meet or exceed assignment requirements, when they look for information that complements what the course is giving. They are exhibiting a positive engagement. They would have non-engagement when they turn in assignments late, or they do them like just to fulfill the requirement, but without any motivation to really get something out of the experience. And negative engagement will be when they do not or fail to complete assignments or tasks in a course. So the participants of this study were students in the Lengua Inglesa program who were taking classes during the past semester, online classes, and these learners were specifically taking courses on British literature, applied linguistics, history, and TESOL courses. How was the study conducted? So after we organized our courses around virtual mode, we asked students and we interviewed them to collect their feedback concerning what activities and in what ways our own courses were able to engage them in the courses that we were teaching during that semester.
At the time of the study, 21 students were registered in the 20th century British course. Because of the pandemic, the class was delivered online. What you're viewing right now, it's a sample of the students' works when analyzing the story, which is part of the activities that they need to do. Basically, they need to read stories, novels, and drama and poetry, and they will have to exchange what they think, what are the devices, the themes of these works from this century. At the time, because of the pandemic, as I said, the students had to do certain work on their own in a platform that we use for that, in the Mood platform that was provided by the Universidad Autónoma de Chihuahua, and some of the other activities were conducted in virtual reunions where basically they discuss the selections. When asked what activities from that semester did they find most engaging, as you can see in yellow, most of the participants of the study said that class discussions, a vast majority of them preferred the class discussions as one of the most engaging activities. They had to choose from, they could choose activities like discussing in class, reading the selections, answering questionnaires, doing puzzles, posting photographs in forums, discussing in forums. But the thing that they found most engaging was class discussions. Okay, and next, please. When we asked them what activities they found least engaging, not surprisingly, I think the majority of them chose activities where they had to work on their own in the platform. For example, puzzles. Puzzles was something that, although we thought they were being engaged to doing the puzzles, they were easy to do. They were not very complicated. In the puzzles, they had to choose, for example, it will say, it will come a quote and they will have to say whether it was a metaphor, a simile, an allusion, and they will have to answer the puzzle like that. What they don't like it though, was that it had to be done individually. It wasn't communal work. It wasn't something that they shared. It was just them answering the puzzle to study before the quiz, and they didn't like them. Some of them also said about extracurricular assignment, which had the same characteristic. Extracurricular assignments were also something that they did individually. They will post a photograph and they will post in a group the themes, but the majority of them didn't check the other person's work. It was just like delivered for the teacher, let's say, but not for the community. So from the results of this course, we can get that the students believe that a classroom environment which enhances learning is one that provides opportunities for discussion with their peers, communicating with others. Learners believe then also that they were less engaged in activities that in a way inhibit their creativity and made them work on their own, like answering a puzzle, where they were not sharing their ideas with their classmates, and when the teacher controlled their responses. For example, in the puzzles, there was only one possible answer in comparison to the discussions where everything was permitted as long as you had an opinion. You may say that these results were only particular to the class of literature, but that's not what we saw in the study. These results, I think, were shared with the other learners from other subjects. Since one of the activities that they liked the most was discussing with their peers, we thought that maybe you would like to see some resources on how to conduct those discussions with students of different subjects. These are some pages that have worked for us in the major. They have very nice activities to work, things to how to make the students be engaged in the discussions. These are then some of those options that we have, and the results that we got from this class are in line with those results from Pascarella and Teresini, who said that classroom discussion is probably the most commonly used strategy for actively engaging students, as we're going to see when my peers present their results for the other classes. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'm going to talk about the Applied Linguistic course. And one of the things that we did was to ask students their perception on engagement in online classes. What were some of the obstacles or the challenges they were facing to follow this new mode of learning and teaching? Some of their expressions, I think I selected these two particular quotes from students because I think they reflect very well the sentiment or the feeling that students have developed. It has been difficult for me to focus on online classes. I get bored and exhausted on my own house. I get tired more often and get distracted while in class. I also became more lazy and unmotivated. I think these are common feelings of students in these online classes. And what Dr. Olave said was very important, the emotions of students, because they feel isolated, they feel trapped at home, and they're lacking contact with their classmates and with their teachers. So what are some of the things that, or some of the solutions that we found to overcome this lack of engagement of the students in online classes? We found that pre-class assignments become key in engaging students because these pre-activities give the students the opportunity to preview some of the topics in the class. And everyone is able to share, when we have the online class, to share some of their findings with their classmates. And the students say that this gives them opportunities to develop their participation skills. Especially shy students feel less anxiety when they feel that they are prepared for the class and they can share some aspects of the contents of the class with their classmates, but that they have had time to prepare beforehand. Some of the findings also point that some of the important aspects for engaging the students is to have courses in which the structure of the course is really well delimited, that the students have enough assignments that are low stakes, that they don't feel threatened by the effects that their completion of assignments is going to have in the course grades or course results, to combine asynchronous and synchronous components in the classes, like giving after the session to have opportunities to continue getting engaged with the class, perhaps over the WhatsApp group or other means of communication, to have flexible participation methods and deadlines, and also to have some alternative assessment formats, that they have options, and that's very important in engaging students in the class. The most significant factor, however, in engaging students is the affective factor. And these are some of the comments of students, they are in Spanish, that they really like when the class has an easy environment, that the environment of the class is respectful to their participation, and that encourages them to participate more.
Okay, and now I'm going to talk about two classes that are very different. The TESOL planning course, which is more like a workshop because students are very active and it's a more student-oriented course, and the analysis of British and American history course, which is theoretical. So the point of having also these two, let's say, different classes in terms of methodology was to see if engagement varied depending on the type of course that we gave. So the question here was, is there a difference between practical and theoretical classes regarding engagement? And the answer was, not really. The general activities that we have in these courses, where in planning, students have to write their lesson plans, they have tests, they have to do micro-teachings, they have a micro-teaching in a third language, they have to write a learning theory and other activities, and of course, class discussion. And in history, as it is a more theoretical course, we have more tests, but we also have class discussion about the topics that we are covering. We have games, questionnaires, etc., etc. So in the planning course, the activities that students found the most engaging were the micro-teachings and the class discussions. And in history class were the class discussions, the review games, and the representations and the videos. The representations are dramatizations of a historical event that they choose. So they have to act it, which is different from a presentation where they only present the topic. So as they are acting, they found that they were more funny, they were more creative. And as you can see in the comments of the students from these points, from these activities that they found most engaging, they like creativity, as my peers already mentioned. They like to share their opinions, and they like to use songs or activities that are not that common, especially because they are taking the classes online. Students have this stereotype that online classes are boring because they are just they just sit at the computer. Some students don't even turn on their cameras. They go to sleep, or they are just not really taking the class. So as teachers, we have to keep them participating. We have to be asking them questions. We have to keep their interest, because otherwise they will go to, I don't know, wash the dishes or sleep a little bit more, and we just have their name on Zoom, right, or on Meet. So were there any differences in engagement? Not really. Students did feel more motivated in both types of courses when they were encouraged to participate in class, when they were engaged in creative, dynamic activities, and when they were challenged and they felt inspired. These are words that they used in the interviews when we asked them. They also believe that a positive atmosphere is key. Like my colleagues mentioned, they need to feel comfortable, they need to be happy, they need to feel safe, that when they participate, we are not going to criticize them. And we, I mean, we as the teachers and their classmates too. And they said that they like the activities when you don't feel that you are learning, but you are. So it's like you are talking to your friends, you are talking to your teachers, but it's more a discussion instead of memorization of facts, or instead of memorization of how to do an activity, how to do a task. They actually do it. So they like to practice, they like to be like hands-on what we are doing, whether it's something theoretical or something more practical. So as teachers, it is very important that we update ourselves to find what the students like, because sometimes we just focus with the techniques or the strategies that we had like from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and that doesn't work with the new generations, especially during the pandemic, that we all were forced to kind of like come up with new ideas to keep our students participating via distance learning, right? So according to the students, although we do have a definition of engagement, for students, engagement refers more to participation, interaction, fun, dynamic activities, involvement basically, and especially motivation. We found that motivation is key to keep students engaged. So as educators, it is super important that we construct effective learning scenarios that keep our students interested and engaged in class. So again, we need to know what they like. We need to know how to get them, how to get to them, how to get to their brains and keep them interested in our classes, because otherwise we will lose them, right? And engagement then is not the necessary outcome of interventions at one level alone. So it is a mix of the behavioral, affective, and cognitive motivation, let's say, cognitive elements. So we need to try to reach all of them, not just focus on teaching the course, on teaching the contents, but to actually make them participate and be part of the class. Because after all, we want them to participate, to be and to be in class. Because if they are not participating, are we really teaching? So no, right? So that's all about our presentation. I hope that you like them. We hope that you like them. And if you have any comments, you can write them here in the comment section, or feel free to send us an email to these addresses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.